Okay, good morning, everyone. And welcome to you out there. We'll call the meeting to order. And if you please rise and we'll have a moment of reflection before we begin.
Thank you. And through you, Mayor Eccles, before I begin, at any point, if you get disconnected, you can dial 1-647-558-0588 and enter the ID for this meeting, which is 891-5626-2480. Both members of council and staff have been briefed on the various features of the Zoom meeting software and will be raising their hands physically to speak. For members of the public, if you require any technical assistance, please send a chat message to myself, Ashley Noble, Communications Coordinator, and I will attempt to assist you. It should be noted for members of the public that this meeting is taking place across two meeting platforms, both on Zoom as well as being live streamed on YouTube. Public participation, if any, must be done through Zoom and cannot be done through YouTube at this time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Noble. Jamie, delegations. I don't believe we have any today. Public meetings. I believe we have any there. Comment period. The procedural, we have this time set aside for maximum of 2 minutes per person is allocated for comments. Anybody in the audience this morning have any comments? Oh, if we get anybody online, Ashley? Let's make a comment. No? Okay. Go ahead.
Watch it.
There's the 2 minute warning right there. Jamie's just been waiting for
No,
somebody.
I just
Thank you,
saw
Mary.
that Jeffrey wasn't here, and we'd asked him to look at a letter that I wrote and that Chris wrote in your correspondence. And if someone would bring it forward, as I said, I don't know if he'll show up a little bit later, but if he doesn't, if someone please bring that forward. We appreciate
Okay,
it.
make recognition. It is in the package, in the correspondence package. Thank you. Okay. And that's it. I'll say that's it for number 6. Number 7 is unfinished business. None that I'm aware of. The clerk's not aware of any. And that brings us down to number 8, adoption of minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes. The regular council meeting, September the 17th, a public meeting held on September the 17th, and a special council meeting on September 18th. Those were in the package. Do I have a mover and a seconder to accept those? Deputy Mayor Hutchison, Tom, and Councillor Townsend. Doug, thank you. Any errors or omissions? Then I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Committee and board reports. We have a set of minutes from the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority from July 18th. Do I have someone to move to receive those? Councillor Forrester, thank you, Scott, and Councillor Hutchison. Doug, thank you. And I was going to say, is that you're voting already, or is there questions coming up there? Hands are up. Councillor Townsend. Doug? Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the Saugeen Valley minutes, in the PDF, page 16, item 7.9, there was an update on the Varney Pond. And I just by the way I read that, Fisheries and Oceans seem to think that the Varney Pond is impacting fish habitats. And I just wondered if the Conservation Authority is going to challenge that, or if they're just gonna roll over and play dead.
Would the vice chair like to comment on that, being at the meeting?
Well, I can assure you of one thing, we're not gonna roll over and play dead to respond to that one. The tricky part to it, and through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Townsend, the problem that we have is that how quickly they can, if nothing happened right at the exit, but it could be 100 yards down, for example, there may be a fish that's dead. Nothing to do with the operation. That's what we're trying to figure out is at where along the line does it minimize that risk? So we don't, there's still more work to be done with it. So it's a tricky one. And the ministry, they, as you can read here, they're kind of inconclusive. They're just kind of its own open end so that they've left themselves wide open for any future action, if you will. So there's other things around the Varney Pond that they're still working on too. Some other permits and whatnot. So I wouldn't say we're out of it, but we're going to do some more work on it to answer that. Again, if it was rated at the exit, that's a different story. The big thing we need to do is we need to take the flow of water measurement in, which we still don't have the right to open that to obviously alter the stream, if you will. We need to do the flow in, temperature in, the flow out, temperature out. Those gauges are not in place. And that to me would be our first step that we would do is let's just try that and see what the temperatures are like. And at least we got something to substantiate what we feel has been in operations for many, many years and has been no harm done. So we're gonna keep working towards that, but that's a budget item that's we just can't approve out of budget. I hope that answered your question. Thank you.
Anything else? Councillor Hutchison. Doug?
Yeah, I'm just curious, in the Saugus Valley report, they talk about a letter that they got from DM Willis titled Durham Upper Dam Operator and Public Safety Review. I'm just curious, I presume that, I didn't look, but I presume that's on the website, available for public viewing. I don't know whether we've seen that letter or not as a council, I believe.
I doubt very much if you have seen it, yeah, but it was in the package and whatnot.
Okay.
That was described. So the engineering firm has said that there is some deterioration and there needs to be work done. One of the stranger things I kind of thought was they've put those boards in and out for a lot of years.
Yeah.
But they had some concern about the safety issues of how to tie off and those things, along with those boards as well too, putting the boards in the dam. So there will be some, or hasn't been set as of yet of when there will be public consultation on that. And the bigger thing is from a Fresnel ice flow, how that is a mediation from that and release a lot of the pressure downstream with Fresnel ice from having that in, and why it's essential still to have that dam there.
Okay, I'll take a look at that and see if there's anything else that I want to question. Thank you.
Very good. Anything else on the Conservation Authority minutes? Then I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Correspondence. That's it for that. Down to number 10, which is correspondence 10.1. There is one there for receiving, looking for direction. 10.1.1 is a letter from Melissa Pegalo. How would you like to deal with that, Council? Doug? Councillor Hutchison? Turn on your mic. Turn on your mic.
I like to turn on my mic first. I'd just like to ask a question regarding the correspondence from the Dark Sky proponents. So I don't know what you want.
Well, we'll wait. I'm going to wait on that one until we deal with this one here, that we need
Oh,
direction
sorry,
from the
we're at the one
correspondence.
before. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry, thank you.
You're way ahead of us as always, out there. I'm going to make a comment from the chair. We don't have anything in our budget line that has been where this would go was, I believe anyways, in talking to staff. You know, I understand the emotional part of this one, but I would suggest that we receive this correspondence and as a council or staff, maybe internally we could do a little donation. It's something that I would certainly like to donate to, and we could do this on a personal matter outside of the council and cover off some of these costs that Ms. Peglo was asking for this very trying situation, I guess. And to be fully and clear, yes, her mother, who this is being raised for, her mother is employed here at the municipal office as well too. But my suggestion would be we receive it and we can look at other ways of helping out for this cause. So if somebody would like to make a motion to that? Councillor Townsend and Deputy Mayor Hutchison. Thank you. We receive this. For information, any further questions? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Correspondence. In the package, we have a number of those. 10.2. Any other? 6, 5, 6. Think there's 6 of them there. Deal with those. We have a motion to receive, or does somebody want any one of them pulled? Go ahead. Councillor Hutchison.
Yeah, item 3 and 4 seem to be fairly similar, same topic, so I wouldn't mind just pulling them to ask a couple questions, maybe a short discussion. If we could. Right. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, just curious where we are in terms of our official plan, in terms of the Dark Sky. I know we've had some discussion and we've done some work on our official plan. I'm not sure who in our staff might be able to respond, but where are we in terms of implementing Dark Sky? It refers to the development on Sadler Street and asking for developer to perform ground illuminance and sky quality studies, and keeping in mind various lighting solutions, and just not sure where we are in terms of enforcing some of those ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. I may, good morning, council, and through the chair to council. I've done a little bit of digging in this. There had been some proposed amendments to our official plan, which had not been approved. There had been some discussion back and forth. In talking to our Director of Development Services and our Manager of Planning, they are recommending a full overhaul of our official plan, which we will be coming forward with for council consideration and a complete rewrite. But at this point, there is nothing in the official plan that allows us to legislate compliance with this.
Councillor Shea. Excuse me, Councillor Shea. Jeffrey?
Thank you and good morning. Further to Councillor Hutchison's inquiry, the second document, item 4 from Chris Palmer, refers to a report in February 2022. I'm sure you checked that out. And it talks about the official plan and the engineering standards. So I was just looking for some elaboration on the engineering standards part of that.
No,
Thank you. Through the chair to council, I don't have any information on the engineering standards. I'd have to check with our Director of Development Services, who is away at a conference this week. So I'm not familiar with anything. And it's somebody perhaps who was here prior. Oh, speaking of which, there he is.
good morning, Carl. You got anything further on that?
Yeah, good morning, council. Through you, Chair. Our development standards does have speak to dark sky lighting compliance for new development, but that is the extent of our engineering standards for in relation to dark sky lighting.
Further, go ahead, Jeff.
So has there been any discussion between our staff and this developer about those standards?
Yeah, the engineering, sorry, through you, Chair, the engineer that is in charge of that project is fully aware of our engineering standards and has complied with those standards on other developments in the past. So they are fully aware.
So,
Yeah,
sorry to be a pill, but I was asking if there was any direct conversation. I'm sure that they would be aware that the document exists, but I guess my point is that our approach to dark sky tends to have been educational and informational as opposed to regulatory. And so I just want to see those sort of information exchanges, that educational information exchange happening as often and fruitfully as possible. So I was just wondering if that sort of dialogue had been entered into. Thank you.
Carl?
Yes, through you, Chair. We have definitely had conversations, as well as Ms. Love has had conversations specifically with this developer in regards to dark sky and provided all their literature. So we've done the same. So at this point, we can only enforce our engineering standards. Anything over and above that would be up to the developer to decide how they wanted to move forward.
Thank you.
Good. Okay. Any other questions? So it sounds like we do have been working already, and
Morning, Lori speaking. Not bad, and you?
do we have somebody that has their microphone on someplace within the building? Okay, well. So that's not a question. Very good. That's it on that one. Do we need a motion to accept those two? We can still receive everything? Okay. If that's it, then I need a motion to receive the correspondence as presented. Thank you, Jeff. Councillor Shea and Councillor Hutchison. Doug? Move that to receive. Any questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Joyce, Councillor Noon.
Oh, thank you. The clerk had circulated correspondence that wasn't circulated with the original agenda, but it was correspondence we already had reviewed. I was wondering if that part of it also coincides with 10.2.
Okay.
Through your mayor, goes to Councillor Noon. No, because those items were previously before council. They were just contained in a support resolution package that was circulated to council for information, but because it wasn't new information, it did not land on the agenda. So that's not before us today.
Okay. We're down to staff reports. We have two staff reports this morning. 11.1, Director of Development, Community Services and CBO. Update on the Westgrade Police Services property. update. And Carl, are you going to take the lead on this one, or we have delegated off to the CAO? But you're here. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So as I provided this report to provide some or request some direction on moving forward with the police, what we consider the police services property. It's the area around the police services building in regards to a development, a residential development that we've been speaking with council to on a numerous occasions. We did put out for tender through Cobite Engineering. We did receive some decent estimates or costs on the tender. We are recommending to move forward with what was the cheapest one for $1.323,860,000. That does include a 50,000 contingency, and approximately 152,000 of that will be billed back to Grey County for their portion of the servicing the paramedic building, which was included in the agreement or will be included in the agreement for sale of the land for the paramedics. So yeah, we're requesting that you authorize the executing all documents for Cedar Well Excavating. And there's also a couple of other minor Hydro One easements. So to get Hydro onto that property, Hydro One has done a review and they've requested 2 easements provided in the attachments. One for a guide wire on the north side of Grey Road 4, and one for a small easement on the police station lands that will be just for some grounding cables that will be buried underground and not visible, but they will be on future municipal property and not in the road allowance. And then we are also at the point, or will be at the point somewhere in the near future, where we will be looking to sell the municipal lands that these lots that we've created or will be creating. And just looking for some direction from council that on how we wish to move forward with those sales. There's multiple options, and right now it's just a preliminary discussion, but we are looking just to have some information on, does council wish to just move forward with selling it, through a real estate agent for to the highest available buyer, or are we looking at, maybe providing some or looking for some proposals on low-cost housing, or discussions with Habitat for Humanity, or doing something like that, or along those lines, I guess, and that would be council's discretion on how we wanted to move forward with that. So that's a lot in this report today, but I'll be here to answer any questions if you have any.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Great to see the work in progress there, moving along very well. Any questions for Carl? Jeffrey, Councillor Shea.
Thanks for the report. The option of considering proposals for attainable, affordable housing is intriguing to me. Would that be something that we would just put out a call for a proposal, or is that something we would possibly develop in partnership with the county?
Carl?
Yes, through you, Chair. There's many options. Yeah, we could have discussions with the county and see how they would like to be involved, or if they want to be involved. There is options for purpose-built rentals. We have our CIP program that does offer some benefits as well, for future development, if they're meeting certain goals. Yeah, we could, put out a request for proposal to either a developer or anybody who's interested in the properties, see what they bring back. There's many options. So I guess we're sort of here at a preliminary stage just to try to determine, I guess the main question is if council wishes to just move forward with selling sort of to the highest buyer, or if they would like to look at other options. And then I guess staff would discuss those other options and bring back possibilities to council for future consideration.
Really?
Well, I'd like to recommend that you explore the option of attainable and affordable housing and perhaps bring something back for further discussion. Would you need that as a motion?
I don't think so, because the way I'm reading the motion, the recommendation that is here, and we haven't moved or seconded it yet, but it's number 5, direct staff to investigate and report back on options for the future sale of residential lots located on the police station. So in my mind, if this motion was to be put on the floor and voted on and passed, that gives staff the direction to go and find what options they are. I think you've just mentioned one, with the county, or whether it's, I don't know, a grand hotel, motel complex, high-rise, multi-res. But in my mind, it's not that we're saying it'll be this one or that one. This is just giving staff the direction to get those options, seek some comments out, and from council's perspective, some of our ideas as well too. It's not committing us to today. And further to your comments, Councillor Shea, this is where we're, let's start moving forward and figuring out what we're going to do, not agreeing on what we shall do. Okay. Any further questions? I'm going to start with Doug 1. That's Councillor Townsend.
Thank you. I'm just wondering too, now that, the municipality owns this land, should we be retaining a portion of that land for a future fire hall? At some point, it's going to happen. And if we don't retain it now, then we're going to have to go out and probably buy more land again. And who knows what the price of land will be at that point. So we've got the land now. Why don't we retain a portion of it for a possible future fire station down the road? Just a thought.
Okay, we'll leave that one out there. And Doug 2, Councillor Hutchison.
If I could just make a comment on what Doug had just said, I think I had that discussion with, I don't know, it was the fire chief at one time, but one of the comments that they made regarding putting the fire station there is putting all your emergency services in one area is maybe not a good idea. They just say if you had a tornado go through, and it hit that area, you'd be wiping out police, ambulance, and fire. So their suggestion was don't put them all together. That was just a comment. So another thought. My question for the director is, the low bid was Cedarwell Excavating, but I didn't think Cedarwell existed anymore. I thought it was Walker. So how does that work? Are they still doing this contract?
I'm looking towards our finance director is saying that was the name that they're going under. I do understand that Walker Industries have bought Cedarwell, but in the transition, I think Cedarwell is still a company that is underneath the company per se. Yeah.
Oh, do we have that in writing somewhere? I'm just thinking if we're dealing with Cedarwell, but then Walker says, well, Cedarwell doesn't really exist and therefore we have an issue. I'm just wondering if there's any complications there.
Director of Finance, Carrie, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor. The tender was submitted by the Cedarwell company. Yes, the parent company may be owned by someone else, but the contract as submitted was with Cedarwell. Is it the previous owner? No. It is a division of Walker now.
Yes.
But what they submitted was under Cedarwell, that corporation that's still their subsidiary of.
Yep. Very good. Deputy Mayor, Tom?
Thank you, Mayor Eccles. Just one comment that when we do go seek for, the various options that are out there, that we do have a conversation with the police because, in the past, there was some concern over some height restrictions over, maybe an apartment building looking down at the police station. So I just want to make sure that we did bring that forward when we start looking at different options. We were concerned about, 4 or 5 stories. We went into something like that for affordable housing, just looking down. So we'll make sure that we keep the eye on that item that was brought forward. Thank you.
Okay, very good. All right. Any other, sorry, Councillor Forster, Scott.
Thank you. My question is about the attainable affordable housing. Now, if we build these houses as affordable, attainable, what's going to keep it that way?
I'm not going to jump at that one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you through the chair to council. That would be all part of the research that we will do and present back in this report, what the options are. I don't want to comment now till we've done our fulsome, but that is always, Councillor Forster, one of the biggest questions that we talk about, and there are best practices out there. So we would include that in the report.
Good. All right. Councillor Townsend, again.
Thank you. And just a follow-up to maybe some of the stuff the CEO was talking about too. Like is there a possibility for the old-fashioned wartime houses, something small and affordable? And given the fact that part of the price tag on a lot of the new homes is the lot itself. So is there a mechanism out there, and I'm just throwing this out there, where the municipality could retain the land and lease it to the property, the people that put the houses on it? And then there's always we always have a flow of income coming from the leased land. And if, say, small wartime houses or something of that style were built on the lots, then it would make them more affordable for first-time home buyers and other people or seniors. Just if we're kind of looking at ideas, that's just something I've thought about.
We'll throw that one into the mixer and can see that the CEO taking notes on that. Put it into the mixer and how it comes out in the options if this recommendation passes as presented. Yep. Okay. Good, wholesome discussion. We do have a recommendation in the report from the CBO. Do I have somebody that would like, after that discussion, move the motion as presented? The recommendation, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Tom, and Councillor Shea. Thank you, Jeff. Good discussion. I think look forward to how we are going to continue to proceed. But this will certainly get us the servicing if this was to pass. No other questions on the recommendation? Duly moved and seconded. Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Very good. Thank you for joining us, Mr. CBO. And if you didn't know, Carl is in training or a conference for building officials. I believe you're sitting in a hotel room probably right now in London, Ontario. So we will let you get on with your conference for the day. Thank you for joining us, Carl.
Thank you.
Now, you can stay if you want, if it's a break time, and you can stay with us. All right. Then that brings us down to the next report, which I believe is Ms. Harris's report, CEO, on the county planning model. An update on that.
Thank you so
Michelle?
much, Council. As you know, you were all part of an August 8th meeting that Grey County Council held with all of the councils of the lower tier municipalities across Grey. The discussion was about a potential centralized planning model for consideration. At that point, there seemed to be general interest broadly from across the county to have further discussions about this. And on September 12th, County Council voted at their council meeting to request feedback from the municipalities with any comments, concerns, feedback, or questions they might have related to the centralized planning model. I should make a note that none of this has been approved at this point. This is just a feasibility study. The caveat in this is, and the basis is that local municipal decision-making related to planning would still remain in effect, but they are looking at this model for potential efficiencies, hopefully some cost savings down the road, an opportunity related to employee retention and recruitment, which has been a challenge across the province in all sectors, but particularly in the planning field. And there are a number of questions that county is asking, and I'm hoping you've all had some chance to review it and think about it. I will be consolidating the comments from both staff and council with questions or concerns and providing those to the county by October 18th, at which time county will go back and do the research on the feedback they've received from all the municipal councils and report back, hopefully by the end of this calendar year.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Any further questions? Comments on this? Councillor Hutchison, Doug?
Yeah, I do think there's some merit to this. My biggest concern is what it looks like. First of all, I know when we talked about this, they talked about not all municipalities would have a planner or a planner in particular, maybe not so much staff, but a planner available. My concern is we are busy. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of building. I would hope that when someone walks in the front door to this building, that they would be able to get their answers from a planner or someone that has the answers. And they talked about if you did it possibly like using hubs where the planners would be maybe in Hanover or maybe in Grey Highlands or somewhere, we wouldn't necessarily have a planner in our building. So that's a concern I have, is making sure that we have the services available for the general public as they come in and have inquiries. Yeah, so that's my biggest concern.
Michelle, you want to comment?
Thank you. I've recorded this, but I certainly know that the admin staff and other support staff will still be retained by the municipalities in this proposed model. But I have heard similar concerns. I don't think it would be planners not being here. There might be a schedule, but the comment is well noted and has been heard elsewhere, and I have made note of it here.
Okay. Councillor Noon, Joyce?
Thank you. It's a great report. There's just one concern about in the about considering centralized, in preparation for the next report, county staff are also collecting and assessing information regarding planning department application fees, staff salary, and benefits. If we get into negotiating with salary and benefits and it's outside of our municipal employee grid or other county municipal grids, will that impact kind of a domino effect then with all the communities? Because if it's going to be outside of the scope, like how will that impact on making these finding out, what's the best for that department as far as the salary and benefits are? I hope you understand what I'm trying to say there. Thank you.
Michelle?
Thank you, through the chair. These employees, if this model went into effect, would become county employees. They would not be municipal employees. So what they're looking at, and their HR department is looking at it in consultation, is what do all the lower tier municipalities currently pay their staff in planning for various functions, and making sure that the county grid for planning would not only be respectful of that, but would not leave any planner or any staff that goes within that proposed model less than where, or less whole than they currently are. So it would be a county staffing, and then obviously the fees for services would need to make the business model work.
Okay, good. Anything else? Then we do have a recommendation there that consideration of staff report consolidation of shared county planning model. Council directs staff to provide comments and feedback to the County of Grey on the proposal for a shared county planning model based on council's feedback. All right. Michelle's got a couple of those, and further on that recommendation.
Thank you. And if I just may respectfully ask council, if by the end of this week or within the next 10 days, there are comments that you think about that you think should be addressed, please feel free to send me an email and I will incorporate those into the feedback we provide to county.
Jeffrey. Councillor Shea.
Thank you. A lot of these topics in this bullet list here were addressed in some way or another in the presentation that we received. We were not able to retain any of those documents because it's a closed session meeting, I believe. Could we, is that document now public? Could we get that so that we know precisely what we're commenting on?
Until I shut mine off, you're not gonna, okay, he shut his off. Now you can turn yours on, Michelle.
Thank you. Through the chair, those are not available at this point because they were in closed session. So they are not. If there's anything specifically you wanted to ask me, I could probably find the information and provide it individually through a conversation, but they are not public documents at this point.
Okay. All right. Any further questions on this report? Then the recommendation is there from the report. We have a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Councillor Forster. Scott, seconder. Councillor Noon. Joyce, thank you. Any questions on the motion? All the question, all those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. That's it for staff reports. What's next? Questions? Get back to the agenda here. Oops. Better get back to the agenda. Staff reports, questions. Any councillors have any questions? Any council member? Deputy Mayor Hutchison. Tom?
Thank you, Mayor Eccles, and I'd just like to follow up with, there was a question last meeting regarding the municipal airport conducting a meeting outside a quorum. And the next morning, we actually passed the new updated bylaws. So yes, they were well within their rights to hold the meeting with two of the municipalities not in attendance at that one. It was checked. And the conclusion was, yes, they could proceed. The following day, when we did have our next meeting, the new bylaws are in effect. So two of the three must be in attendance. So I just wanted to bring that forward, that that meeting did go as planned, and it was as it should have. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, for that. Gathering that question. Joyce, Councillor Noon.
Thank you. I attended the Trinity Strategic meeting last week, and we all.
Where's the question going here?
Okay, well, we were asked questions about upcoming things, and was I updated on the bridge meeting we're hosting?
Okay.
Okay. But I told him it was at 7 o'clock. So in looking for information on the website, I found that it's from 5 to 8, that it's an open concept. I was thinking it was going to be like the engineers would have presented it to the public like we were presented. So long and short, in looking at the website, I thought as soon as I opened it, it would have popped up and I would have seen this meeting, but it wasn't there. You had to go actually into the calendar to see it. So I was wondering if something like this is pretty urgent. I was thinking it should have been maybe right up front when you open up the website of the municipal website.
You look after that website, Mr. Clerk, so you. I think maybe, yes, she was looking for a question. Is there a better way of, I'm gonna say, is there a better way of putting?
Is there a better way of communicating this information?
Thank you, Councillor David.
Thank you, through your miracles to Councillor Noon. So this particular piece of information was communicated through our website on the community calendar. It was on our social media page and it was also in the newspaper. So we tried to widely disseminate all of that information to the public. Generally speaking, we reserve the pop-up boxes for emergency situations. We don't try to utilize that particular mechanism to communicate information because it's generally supposed to be things of a more urgent matter. So if you start putting significant amount of content on there, the pop-up box loses its value and people tend to dismiss it more than actually read the information. So we did try to get the information out as best we could. We just didn't utilize that pop-up box for it.
Okay. All right. If they do show up at 7 o'clock, they're still in time to get the information, Joyce. All right. Any other questions? Move on then to bylaws. We do have a number of bylaws. I think there's 5 of them on here today. Confirming bylaw dealing with disclosure and dissemination of information, and then 3 zoning bylaws. Planning, DJ Land, Weber, and another one, 1193934, Ontario Inc. Do we have anybody to move those bylaws? Excuse me, Councillor Townsend. Doug, thank you. And seconder? Councillor Hutchison. Doug. Very good. Any questions or comments on the bylaws as presented? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Thank you. Not aware of any new business. That's it for bylaws. Any new business? None. Announcements. Anyone have any announcements they'd like to make? Scott, Councillor Forster.
Thank you. The New City Lions Club's having their 50th anniversary since they've been a club, Saturday, October 5th at the New City Community Center, and the West Grey Library is having a fundraising event for the love of reading at the Durham Town Hall, also on Saturday. Thank you.
If I'm not mistaken, the library one starts at 11.
I believe so. It has different stages. There's an afternoon program and a meal and evening program.
Yeah, but I think it starts at 11. Yeah, the opening or whatever. I'll leave it at that. Planning on getting there. We can say the West Grey Durham Lions is having a vendor show on Saturday as well too at the Durham Arena. So I don't know whether it's your Halloween shopping that the vendors, craftsmen are going to be there, or it's a real good start on your Christmas shopping. You might need, it's going to get cool at some point in time. Tom, you might need a pair of wool socks. There could be somebody there that are putting those together as well too. Anything else? Tom?
Just that Xmas threw me back a couple of times. Anyways, September 25th, last week, the Elmwood Fire Department, we had our service awards night, and we had 3 recipients of 15 years of service. So shout out to those. Mayor Eccles did come, as well as Mayor Peabody, just to help us present those awards. So just doing a shout out to our members of the fire departments across West Grey. Thank you very much for the services that you provide to our communities. And for those that are not sure, you gotta watch the TCAT schedule. The first one is Tavistock, and it's a Saturday game on the 12th, October 12th. So there's quite a few games that are actually gonna happen on a Saturday versus the normal Friday routine that we seem to have had in place. And last but not least, and I won't keep beating this, but the alumni tickets, Toronto Maple Leaf alumni tickets are now out at the various depots across West Gray. So the tickets are there, and that's for the general admission. And if you're looking for the VIP, I still have those in my control until we figure out who we're gonna filter those through. But just want to let you know that's the latest and greatest update for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Anything else? The chair attended a few things over the past couple of weeks since the last council meeting, but one that was very interesting, and I have my orange ribbon on here. Last night, I was invited to Dundalk, kind of to represent West Gray and the Junction community. Councillor Joan Johns, councillor in Southgate, runs that Junction community group focus in Dundalk, and they had the United Church Hall last night, the church itself, and then the dinner in the hall, a presentation and an update and just on truth and reconciliation from our Indigenous community. Had a number of speakers from Indigenous lineage there, a couple of Métis speakers as well too, on their experiences and understanding and trying to get a better understanding of what residential schools and how that played into the decimation of the Indigenous communities in Canada. Just the interesting thing is that we all thought it was sometime around the time of Confederation, but residential schools started before Confederation, and the last one was closed down in 1996 in Saskatchewan. Unbelievable when we think about that. I've known that for a while, but it was a shock to a lot of people. I think it's still a shock of what happened there with that and how we can group. But my statement was some things we can't change what happened. We can recognize that it did happen, but we can do everything in our power to make sure that it never happens again. Hopefully across the world, but specifically here in Canada going forward. On a bit of another note, more locally, the Bentinck Plowing Match has been going for not quite 100 years, but it's getting close from what I understand. The Bentinck Plowing Match is on October the 12th, usually considerably earlier than that, but this year, because of the change of the International Plowing Match, which starts this week, I believe it is. Yeah, today, out in Eastern Ontario. So with that, yeah, usually plowing match should be here, but a number of participants are away at the International, so they've had to delay. So it's October the 12th. And hopefully we can get it on our website or someplace, because I can't tell you exactly where it is. I know it's in Bentinck Township, so you know, you're just driving around on October 12th thinking of something to do, you can find the plowing match. I don't know the exact farm that it is on. Anything else under announcements? Very good. Closed session, I don't believe we have any, no need for closed session. Then that brings us down to the last, report coming out. Number 18 is adjournment. With all matters done on the agenda, I will move that the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. We will meet back here at 2 o'clock, I believe.